It's time now for This Is Life with Rob McGowan. How we live always changes the world around us.
Hi, this is Rob with Life Radio. I'm here with Mayor Adam Lordon, who will be mayor again. So that's for sure. It's a given. You're in. So how are you today, Adam?
I'm well, thanks, Rob. It's nice to chat with you again. And
It's been a while.
we're in the midst of election season. I've been acclaimed, and I'll look forward to working with the new council, hopefully as effectively as we've worked together in the last council.
Oh, it's awesome. And thank you for the work you guys have done and helping our city grow and just making a difference. It's something. But today I wanted to come on and sort of talk about why it's important that we all go out and vote. A lot of us just figure, oh, it's just city council and they don't bother. And half the people you talk to couldn't even tell you the city councilors' names. It's just one of those things that people have never seemed to gain a big interest in it. But somebody was saying to me the other day, if you were to shut down the federal government, we wouldn't notice for, a couple of months. But if you were to shut down the city government, we'd notice within a day or so, just bang, everything that happens through you guys. So it's important to listen in and go out and vote.
Oh, that's absolutely true. I mean, people often say, and I think rightly, that the municipal government is the government that's closest to the people. We're the ones on the ground, so we're the ones responsible for your roads, and we're certainly hearing about all kinds of pothole and road issues this time of year. The garbage, the recreation facilities, the parks, really the kind of services we depend on in our day-to-day lives, and so. Absolutely ensuring that those are done and delivered well, and that.
Sorry about that. Just hang up. Should have shut my phone off.
That's okay, Rob. These services are the ones that people depend on day to day, and maybe sometimes take for granted. But it's more than that too, because of course, a council is responsible for planning and policies within the community. So when we see things that maybe we don't have yet that we'd like to have. It's incredibly important to vote, because ultimately a mayor, for example, may have a vision, and I believe that I do have a vision of where we would like to go and should go as a community. But a mayor is only one member of a 9-person team, and you need 8 teammates who are willing to work together, work hard, study the issues, and make informed decisions, and listen to the community. What the community wants today is not the same thing that the community wanted 20 years ago. And, I've seen a lot of great discussions in this campaign, for example, on trails,
Yes.
lot of discussion on trails. That's not something we heard a lot of my last election, in 2016, but it's really great to see the community out and talking about wanting these and the value they can bring to the community for our quality of life, for health and wellness, certainly for mental health, even these days, for tourism, for economic development. There are so many good reasons. And, if counselors who are going to go in don't hear this kind of conversation from the community, then they may not be as willing to move on something like that, because it will cost significant investment, but it's worth it, in my opinion. And that's what we've heard in the community, is that they want us to have a big vision and build a robust trails network for the community. So
and there seems to be a lot of support for it too. Everybody I've talked to or come across, and I've been talking to a lot of people about it, seems to really like that idea. So most of the councilors, I think, are on board with the idea. So it's something that seems like it's got all the potential to go forward if we do get the election going and the right people in.
I would hope so. And, this is how a democracy should work, right? At any level. So there are a lot of citizens who think trails are incredibly important. There's lots of other issues too, but I'll just use this as an example. And those citizens have done the work of asking the council candidates where they stand on these issues. So people can know if trails are important to you, you're going to know where these individuals stand. And certainly if people are committing to working on that effort, hopefully they'll do that when they get in there. And if they don't, or if they do, people will, of course, respond with their votes next time around. And if trails is not your issues, if roads are your issues, if a new wellness recreation center is your issue, if mental health is your issue, economic development, it doesn't matter what your issue is. Now's your chance to find out where people stand and then hold them accountable for doing it or not doing it when they get there.
You were just those things. I was looking up today what, local city councils are responsible for, and it's insane the amount of stuff. like the community vitality, like neighborhood planning. You guys plan the events, where there's going to be, big parades or whatever's going on. You guys are all involved in how we spend our money and what we do in those events. Engagement, getting citizens to vote. I don't know what you guys do in that particular aspect, but I guess it's part of city council's job to make sure people are voting, doing things like this. And do you guys spend money on like promoting voting, or how does that work?
Well, there's not necessarily a hard and fast job description for a mayor or for councilors. And there's a lot that we're responsible for formally, the city's operations. And then there's a lot of work that, councilors, mayors, representatives can choose to do. So promoting community events and helping to make them happen, really, we have events would fall between sometimes recreation or economic development departments, but a lot of what we do now is we'll support local organizations, whether that's festivals or event organizers or nonprofits. We can support them by supporting their projects financially or providing some support of the city's in-kind services and manpower when that's appropriate. But basically, of course, we can only do so much ourselves. So the way that I think it's important to work is to work with the community and partner with different groups so that we can empower all of the community, all the different organizations to do good work for the community and for the citizens. But as it relates to an election itself, that although it's a municipal election, it is mostly run by the provincial government. And so they are the ones that lead the efforts of organizing the voting and promoting it. But certainly we can have a role to play. And that's why for me, even though I was acclaimed, so I knew on April 9th that I wouldn't have an opponent and wouldn't be in a campaign myself. I've continued since then to engage. So I've had some live virtual town halls where people can ask questions. I've continued to promote through my social media and doing interviews like this, what we need to do as a community in the next 4 years, what we need to plan and where we need to go so that, we're part of that conversation. It's a time for me to listen to people and share ideas just as much as everyone else, even though I won't be on the ballot. So, and to promote, of course, voting. So we've had 2 advanced poll days in the last few days, and we've got the big election day coming next Monday.
Yeah, well, so we talked about leisure, putting in parks and trails. That's one idea, and bringing forward council to be part of that. We also have you guys deal with the health issues in our local communities as well, right? Public waste, the design and the planning, the parks. You guys worked on parks during your last tenure. And so there's a lot of things you guys work on in our environment itself. How our city's going to look depends on who we have in council. Most people don't realize that.
Well, that's been a big passion for me, is what I call the renewal of our community. So renewing those park spaces, renewing those downtowns, and making sure and building up the waterfronts. We have to have the kind of community. The biggest issue that we're going to have over the next decade and probably beyond is people. So we need to attract people and we need to keep people. And in order to do that, we have to have a vibrant community, a well-maintained community. If you go into any community and the parks are run down and the downtown is run down, that's not a very good way to keep and encourage people to move to your community. And we're a big geographical city. We're very spread out and we have a small population, but we have to maintain the spaces that we have. So we have to be strategic about that. And when we plan and when we work with other levels of government and get some funding support from them, we can maintain our public spaces. But it is up to the mayor and council to ensure that happens. So if a mayor and council don't put money in the budget to upkeep the parks, then they're not going to be upkept. The staff can't work if there's no money to do it. So it's really, it's critical that we have a council and a mayor who understand the importance of maintaining our community and making it a vibrant place for our citizens to enjoy each and every day.
100%. So that goes to community vitality, of course. I was thinking about, so what about living standards? When you guys are looking at, bringing jobs in, like we have now another 100 jobs over there in the Pepsi plant, the old Pepsi plant in Chatham side, and all the work that's coming in. So is it any job? You just bring jobs? Or are you guys looking for a certain quality of jobs when you're asking companies to come here? Or how do you go about that process of finding work and growing our city?
Well, it's a really great question, Rob. And we all want to grow the economy. We all want to create jobs. We hear a lot of people talking about we need jobs and I'm going to fight for jobs. But what does that mean? You have to have a plan. Jobs don't fall out of the sky. So you have to, and we've done a lot of great legwork over the last few years. For example, you referencing that Sensi, the new production facility in the former Pepsi plant that's now created dozens of jobs in the community. Back in 2016, right after cannabis was legalized in Canada, we knew that there was going to be a lot of jobs created in this sector. It was a new and emerging sector. And in New Brunswick, the premier at the time was saying New Brunswick's going to get a lot of these jobs. And so we said as a community, we're going to fight for some of those jobs. And we created a plan. Our economic development team worked really hard on listening to what that industry wanted and needed and providing a value proposition to it. I attended meetings with at least 6 or 7 different potential cannabis companies that would come through New Brunswick. They'd visit Miramichi, Fredericton, Moncton, along with our economic development team. And we worked really hard, and success was getting 1 out of the 7. We have another local one that's in the process of being built now too. So that would be great also. But you're not going to get everything you try for, but you have to work hard and you might get some of it. And realistically, we know too that in a community like ours, the big whale, is not necessarily going to always work out, but it's working with local companies, existing companies to create jobs, 2 jobs at a time, 5 more jobs at a time. They get a big contract and they can hire 10 more people, and just supporting them and creating the conditions so that our local existing businesses and entrepreneurs can create new businesses. And, I have a broad perspective to what economic development means. So again, making sure that we have a well-maintained community and the kind of community that people want to live in is an incredibly important part of economic development. If a business comes in, again, and they're looking at where they're going to set up their shop, and they come into a community and everything looks run down, that's maybe not going to be the community they're going to choose to set up their business in. So we have to, make sure that we take care of all of the pieces of municipal government while we're also working in a hands-on way to attract businesses and create jobs. And so we've got a new 5-year strategic plan for the Economic Development Department, a big focus on housing, because that's an area where we know we have an urgent need in this community is more housing and more affordable housing. And, quite frankly, we're at a tipping point now where, of course, we're always going to look for more jobs, but businesses are starting to struggle to find people to fill those jobs. With our boomers aging out of the workforce and the generation behind them much smaller, we need more people to fill jobs. And in our community, we need more places for those people to live. So those are the big priorities. Population and housing are going to be the challenge of the next decade. And that's why we've made it our #1 priority.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. And one thing I want to say is anytime I've called you up or said you want to do a meeting, you're very open to that and talking. So I'm trying to sort of establish a relationship with all the counselors so that the city, if they have questions and what we're working on, so we can keep a sort of transparency going. Because I think if we work together with the counselors and with what people want, like the park thing that we just did, and people saying what they want and the counselors saying what they're in on it is a good way to sort of communicate back and forth and just keep it open so we all know we're going in the right direction. I like that idea.
Absolutely. I think it's a part of the job to communicate. So to come out and do interviews like this, but even on a one-to-one basis with any citizen have any questions, they send it to you on Facebook or they give you a call. I'm always happy to chat and explain, for me, why I feel the way I do or why I've made a decision, and also to listen. So again, when you've got all of a sudden dozens and hundreds of people in the community saying, we want trails, then that's something you got to listen to and react to. So, communication's a two-way street. And on to that point too, in general, on the issue of transparency, I'm excited in our new term, we've just passed a new process for our committee structure at City Hall. And a lot more of the meetings will now be back in the chambers and public. And so people are going to know what's going on sooner. They're going to know what's going on before it comes to a regular council meeting for a final vote. And I think that's going to create an opportunity for more dialogue and more public engagement and feedback in the work we do at City Hall. I'm really excited about that.
Well, that's awesome. Well, so mainly the whole thing I want to get out of this is go out and vote. Look at all the stuff the council is doing, how important it is to our city. So if we're not voting, stop complaining. You got
Well,
to get
that's
out and
it.
vote.
It's so important, and I feel really positive about the last few weeks and how there's been so much engagement, a lot of great discussion. Look, there are 15 people running, and we know that they're all passionate about creating positive change in our city. Each of them might have a different way of doing that or a different perspective on what that might mean, but we know that they all want best. I'm excited. The community will have its say to choose 8 new teammates for me for the next 4 years. Some from that have been there before, maybe some new ones. And the most important thing is that whomever is selected, we're going to work together.
That's awesome. Well, Adam, I know sounds like you got a busy schedule. I wanted to thank you for coming on and talking about getting people out to vote today. And it's important, and keep up the good work.
Well, thanks so much, Rob. And it's Monday, May 10th. That's the big day. 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Get out and vote. And also, if you can't go on next Monday, you can go any day this week to the returning office down on Pleasant Street in Newcastle. So,
you can go any day this week.
You can go any day to the returning office. Yep.
Okay.
Down on Pleasant Street. So if you can't go Monday and you haven't gone yet, you can go any day this week. And there's a lot on the line, and it's incredibly important for the future of our community. So absolutely get out there and vote.
I agree 100%. Well, again, thank you. This is Mayor Adam Lordon. We're signing off, I guess, for Life Radio. And thanks for coming in again, Adam.
Anytime, Rob. All the best.
You have a great day.
You too.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time.